Welcome, my friends from around the world. We are here once again. And before I get started on this Friday night Alive Power Hour episode, I have two questions. Actually, I've got two questions that I want to ask you before we get going on this challenging episode. How does feeling sorry help you? And how often do you engage in this type of activity? Now, tonight we're going to discuss these two topics and a lot more, obviously, on another challenging episode of Friday Night Alive Power Hour with your host, Soldier of Self-Mastery, a.k.a. Santos Rolon Jr. We're going to be here for about 30 minutes. I'm kind of scattered. I've got notes. I've got a little bit of a system that we're going to be going through tonight over the next few minutes. So once again, it's a privilege and an honor to be here. This is episode number 40. I know it may not seem like a big deal to you, but it is to me because I'm often reminded of what Eleanor Roosevelt said. She said, do something that scares you every single day. And I come before this camera, this little studio. My hopes is that my message will go around the globe to help people like you and myself and inspire people to really find what their true passion is, overcome addiction, overcome fear of failure, and all these other things that are tied into those two key questions that I asked earlier. So what's on your mind tonight? I've got a few things that I want to go over before we get started. And let me make sure that I got everything going on before I acknowledge my audience here. Let me see, my house cleaning. Let me get some house cleaning out of the way. My friends, if you are benefiting from this program, if you're benefiting in some way, number one, I would encourage you to share these videos. I would definitely encourage you to do that. When you give to this, when you go through soldiersofselfmastery.com and you give a financial donation, you team up with me to help others. So I'm encouraging you to do that if you're benefiting from this program. The other thing that I want to share with you, obviously, we're going to be back here Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Time is going to go by quick. Normally, I'm here about 30 minutes or so. I see we have a joinee. Welcome to the program, Joe. It's a privilege and an honor to be here and to have you with me here tonight. So, if you haven't, for those of you that have not subscribed to soldiersofselfmastery.com, I would encourage you to do so. The link is going to be there at the top of the chat. There's a free educational gift for you that is there waiting for you when you subscribe. So if you haven't done that, I would encourage you to do that. And I want to make sure that I got everything out of the way. Yes. All right. What's today's proverb? What is today's proverb? By the way, it's Friday, Joe. It's Friday, Joe. Oh, let me see what you got going on there. Really liked your last video with you talking to a girl at the airport. Chase your dream. Yeah, her name was Katie. I was at the Denver, Colorado airport. It's a big airport there in Denver, Colorado. I've never been there. And I'm a people person. And one of the reasons why I step out of my comfort zone to greet people, to talk to people, to meet people, is because that helps build confidence. And I'm sure maybe you understand what I'm sharing here. We definitely need confidence in our lives. Now, tonight we're going to be addressing, actually, let me get into the proverb. I want to read the proverb before we go into the program. Tonight's topic is actually, I really want to talk about what is self-empowerment. But as I was kind of meditating, meditating and fermenting, if you will, on today's topic and what it is, what kind of a message did I want to share with us? And obviously, I want your feedback too. I definitely need your feedback also. Let me see, where am I going here? Proverb. Let's get into the proverb, Santos, before we go anywhere. But I do need your help. Okay? So let's get into this. Let's read the proverb. It's Philippians 4:8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, Whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. In the world that we live in today, it's amazing. All of the distractions, the news, the experiences that people are going through, and of course, our own personal experiences, climate change, the ecosystem, the financial aspect of this entire globe. There's all kinds of things that we are facing on a daily basis. Now, I mentioned these two questions, and I'm going to read them off again because we've got a really good episode tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about something. I had a fellow join me a couple of weekends ago, a couple of Fridays ago. I don't know. It might have been. Well, I'm not going to say it was Joe. I know it was somebody that said, Santos, I would love for you to talk about self-pity or feeling sorry for yourself, how to be easier on yourself when you fail, etc., etc. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode. We're going to talk about these two things. Of course, we're talking about self-improvement. I've been on a kind of a topic here. I want to really, and it's weird. I went online and I looked at the word self-improvement. We all have an understanding or an idea of what self-improvement is. The dictionary's idea, let me see if I can bring that up here in a minute. The dictionary's idea of what self-improvement means is this. Let me see if I have it on here. Did I bring it up? Maybe I didn't bring it up, huh? Well, anyways, I've got a bunch of notes here that I've got. But basically, self-improvement has to do with self-education. It has to do with developing oneself and using one's ability to do it. It's pretty interesting. I for some reason I didn't put that down, or maybe I did. Let me see here. Let me check. What is self-improvement? You are responsible for how you live. People who are on the self-improvement path understand that their thoughts and actions play a big role in what they get out of life. That was just a blog that I read. By the way, thank you for the thumbs up. Katrina O'Connor, welcome to episode number 40. Joe, as I mentioned earlier, nice to have you here. Laura, welcome to episode number 40. We're going to be talking a little bit about pain. We're going to be talking about suffering, and we're going to be talking about feeling sorry for ourselves a little bit here. So I read the proverb, so we've got that out of the way. Let me move some of these items here that we have. And I'm probably going to do a little bit of reading out of my partner's book. It's got some good, I think I shared this with you guys before, Cephas, my partner, his book. And so let me see, where am I at here? We're talking about self-improvement tonight. I have a question. I do have a question here. Oh, you know what I want to do with us tonight? I know there's a few people on here. Before we even go forward, I want to do something with you guys, something that I've never done before. Would you guys be willing to take a few minutes out with me and do a little deep breathing exercise? Yes? Okay. All right. Well, either that or you can watch me do it. So basically, this is something that I do periodically, and I've mentioned this before. Deep breathing times 3. So I'll take just a few minutes. This is a really great exercise. It makes adjustments, internal adjustments inside of you when you breathe in and when you breathe out. And just do it simply 3 times, you know. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, that was the only 2. I'd usually do it 3 times. When I'm doing it, I do it periodically throughout the day. I'm always bringing in, when I breathe in, I think about positive thoughts. I think about positive things, you know, wisdom, strength, patience, energy. I'm breathing that in. I'm breathing that in as I breathe in. And when I breathe out, I'm releasing negative stuff, you know, stuff that I don't want to think about, stuff that maybe I did last week or the week before. Let it all go. Whatever it is that you just let it go. Bring in the good stuff, let go of the old stuff. So we're going to talk, by the way, that's exercise is really good for all of us that seek self-improvement. How does it make you feel when you think about this? How does it make you feel when you feel sorry for yourself? What does feeling sorry for yourself do for you? See if I can get some impact. You're welcome, Laura. I agree. Refreshing to listen to how grateful he is. Thanks, Joe. Let me see. So let me ask you guys. I mean, we all go through things. I know, I don't remember the exact, was it Joseph? I don't remember the exact guy that asked me to talk about this. One of the most dangerous, I'm going to say this right up front, one of the most dangerous things that you can get yourself involved with is feeling sorry for yourself. Self-improvement is the opposite, right? There's many different aspects of self-improvement. There's different types of life hacks that we can use for self-improvement. And there's many areas of our individual lives that we have that need self-improvement. I find sometimes, let me see what Joe says, feeling sorry is a trap like gambling. It's a trap. Now, what do you mean, Joe, when you say it's a trap? Feeling sorry is a trap. Feeling sorry is a quick reaction when we react to an imperfect world. That's true. That's true. When we fail, when we make a mistake, it's one thing to make a mistake here and there. It's another thing to be engaged in mistake making or the same mistake over and over. That definitely will, it's a slow suicide is what it is, in all honesty. I do these programs and I create these videos in hopes to help people around the world, in hopes to help people get inspired and give themselves hope, because we all make mistakes. We're going to fall down. We're not going to get it right. And I'll tell you, one of the easiest slopes to go down, is to begin feeling sorry for yourself. I like what you said, Joe. It's a trap. It's a trap. Anybody else want to add to this? Laura, Katrina, I don't know if people are popping in. It's Friday. I understand it's Friday. We all need to be reminded. I know I need to remind myself. I have a big vanity mirror, huge vanity mirror. And on that mirror, I post affirmations that I read. Some days I read in the morning, some days I'll read in the afternoon. Of course, I've created my own cocoon. I talk about that in the Little Red Book. You got to create your own environment. If you want to go forward in life, if you want to really dedicate your life to self-improvement, there's life hacks that you have to put into practice. And if you don't put them into practice, what's going to happen? You're going to keep moving in the wrong direction, my friends. Isn't that the truth? I know the moment that I begin to feel sorry for myself, there's times, yeah, soldier of self-mastery feels sorry for himself sometimes. Because when I think about failure, when I think about my personal failure, when I think about my personal mistakes, the money, the hundreds and thousands of dollars, in particular, that one really hits me hard. The hundreds and thousands of dollars that I've lost, that I've blown as a problem gambler, as a former problem gambler, it hits me hard. And there's times that I wake up, you got a bill, you got something that comes up, You want to give to a charity. There's something that you know that you could have done more with what you've had. That money that was blown. It hurts, my friends. It truly hurts. Now, that could be a problem gambling, or it could be some other addiction that you're feeding financially. The money, the flow of money that's going in that direction. We don't like to think about these things. It's kind of like talking about death, mortification, life insurance policies, etc. It's needed. This talk is needed. We need to confront the enemies head on. And we're talking about feeling sorry for yourself. We're talking about the act of beating yourself into a pulp. You ever do that? I don't know, maybe you guys are a little different than I am. I catch it quick though. That's the key. One of the key things is catching it quick. I copied you, Santos, and posted messages on a whiteboard as well as journal when I can, and videos all day. I love your videos. Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate you sharing that with me. I truly, and lately I've experienced, over the last 2 weeks, I've experienced some really some strange things. Obviously, every week's different. I just came from the East Coast. I was spending some time with my mom, and we were going to do a second episode. That'll be at another time. I really enjoy spending time with my mom because she's survived some major accidents, abuse, and but I got a couple of calls from a couple of individuals. One young lady in particular that is in a very, very ugly situation, and we've been doing a little bit of coaching, and I got another call, and one of the like I said, one of the worst traps. Joe's mentioned the word very good. One of the worst traps that we could fall into is feeling sorry for ourselves. We have to learn to catch that one immediately. And the more that you catch it, the easier it becomes to catch it, because you will end up feeling sorry for yourself. There's going to be times where depression, the cloud of depression, will want to come over you because you did something that, however it was done, out of ignorance, or you did it because you decided to do it. And then obviously we pay the price for those things that we do later on, right? We end up either feeling sorry, we end up beating ourselves up. And financially, I have to really catch myself. Well, I do catch myself. It's gotten a lot better, obviously, because that's what I train myself to do. I challenge myself because I do not want to feel sorry for myself. I am not going to do that. As wonderful, or maybe not wonderful, or as comfortable as that would seem, because there's a lot of people that are there in that comfort zone. A lot of people are feeling sorry for themselves. In fact, there's a lot of people that come to these Friday Night Alive programs and Sunday Night Alives, and they go gamble during the week, and then they don't want to come to the program because they may feel judged. And you know who's judging them is themselves, because I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just like you guys. I throw the dart every day. And sometimes I'll get close to the bullseye, but then I miss the bullseye. And I'm not talking about problem gambling. I'm talking about, in my life, there are other things that I fail at. I'm constructing a business. I've got all these projects, and sometimes I fall short. I say I'm going to do this other thing, or I'm going to write this other section, and I fall short. And it's easy to begin feeling sorry for yourself. One of the key things that I find in self-improvement is to stop and don't engage in that kind of stuff. Now, I want to read a few things here about self-improvement. But before I do, actually, here's a couple of little subtopics about self-improvement. You need to define what you want before you can achieve it. This is from a blog. And a lot of this stuff that I'm reading in blogs is actually in my book, the Little Red Book, and it's also in the PGBA, the Problem Gambling Breakthrough Academy, that my partner's putting the finishing touches on that. You are always changing. Did you know that you are always changing? Did you know that? We need to be reminded. I say this all the time. The good life will come out of a positive, a positive. The good life will come out of a positive of a good. The good life will come out of a series reminders of good. Oh, what am I? I'm confusing myself here. The good life comes out of a good series of positive reminders. Come on, Santos. See, I could beat myself up right here for that mistake, but I'm not going to because I'm human. Your thoughts matter. Your habits matter. Now, this is what I want to read to you real quick. The present moment is your place of power. See, your present place right now where you are in life, where you find yourself, that is your place of power. That's your launching pad. Every conscious decision we make, every action we do unfolds the present moment. We're building something. You and I are building something. We are engineers. We are construction workers, figuratively speaking. We are building something. And whether we realize that, whether we want to accept that, that is the truth. We are building something. And if we're not proud, if we're not proud of what we're building, could it be because we're feeling sorry for ourselves? Could it be that we're actually beating ourselves into a pulp? And then we just keep going back to that muck and mire, right? When you feel bad, when you feel sorry for yourself, you begin to say, you know, what's the use, man? I'm done, I'm a failure. I'll never get the victory here. I'll never get through to this. This and the other thing. And you just beat yourself to well, not a bloody pulp, because if you start bleeding, you can get some Band-Aids and go to the hospital. But you end up beating yourself into a bloody pulp. And then that's what keeps us back. That's what holds us back. So I'm going to get into you guys here in a minute. I want to see what you guys are doing and get some feedback. But learn from the past. While we can't change our past, but we can often look back on it and learn from our past mistakes and past successes. That's the key, is learning from past mistakes and past successes. I call past successes trophies. They're mental trophies that you can look at and remind yourself of when you're going through a difficult time. You remember that achievement that you had? Maybe it was recently. You felt really good. Maybe you struggled with it and you thought that you weren't going to get through, you weren't going to make it, or you weren't going to be able to do it. You remember you accomplished it. After you got done, you said, that was nothing, right? It was something, because when you were going through that difficult time or whatever it was, you achieved. That's a spiritual trophy for you. We often forget the good things, and we tend to focus on all the negative. That's where most people are today, because we live in a negative world. Human nature is negative by nature at the core. So yes, we're going to struggle through life achieving. Let me say this, and then I'm going to see if I'm going to get I want to read some of your comments, because time is going by very quickly. And I hope that I've gotten everything in here that I've been wanting to talk about. Feeling sorry is a tragedy waiting to happen. Beating up self is a slow suicide. Now, these are my personal notes. Running from sources of help delay your self-improvement. My friend, it's cold out there. You need to stay close to the heat. You need to stay close to the fire. Now, there's something else that I want to read here, but I'm going to wait because I want to check out some of your comments. I want to see what you guys are sharing. Let's see. Laura says, I need to spent 3 hours and could hardly keep awake. I was so upset. What was that about? We deserve, Joe says, we deserve better than what gambling offers. What are we getting out of feeding these machines? What are we getting out of? Let's take a few minutes and let's think about that addiction. You might come across this video. Maybe you don't have a problem addiction, but you have some sort of addiction. What are you benefiting from that? See, I try to get people to think. If you take time, again, we're on the topic of self-improvement. What is self-improvement? What is it? Self-improvement is a school, right? It's a school. It's a system. It's a broad system of education that we can take bits and pieces of and apply. We have to apply it, right? We have to. Santos has to apply. But I encourage people to take time to think. I call it timeouts. In the Breakthrough Academy, you'll see a couple of questions in there that talk about timeouts. How many timeouts do you take during the week to sit down with your journal and think about where you're at, or maybe what it is that you're doing that you're not benefiting from? And we're so caught up. We're so caught up, my friends. We are so caught up with believing that we can't get through. I'm going to say this. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Well, yes, it matters. But when it comes to realizing who you are and what you're capable of doing, those things really don't matter. They can't compare. It's like the person that says, I can't stop smoking. Well, smoking is controlling you then, right? Yeah, smoking is controlling me. The person that can't drink, right? He's got a beer can or whatever. Maybe it's a little bottle of rum that I can't stop drinking. That's controlling. This is controlling me, or whatever other. Think about that for a moment. When you look at those items, how little they are in comparison to who you are, what you've been through, your experiences, you're going to let that thing tell you that it's in control of you? You got to turn it around. Now you may be in problems, right? You may be entangled. You may be entangled. You may be addicted in some way. That should not stop you from recognizing that you are in control of that thing. See, even though you make a choice to do that thing, you can also make a choice to not do it. Wow, that sounds really easy, Santos. Is it really that easy? Well, maybe not that easy. I call it simple. But yes, think about that for a moment, right? I had a choice to come and do this program here. We're at the bottom of the hour. I had a choice. I could have said no. I could have stayed in bed, or I could have took a shower. I could have went somewhere. I chose deliberately to come and put myself in front of this program to help people around the world. My friends, you have choices. You can choose to beat yourself up if you want to. You can choose not to beat yourself up. You can choose to feel sorry for yourself after you committed an act that you regret. Or you can say, wait a minute, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. First of all, if you are deliberately, why feel sorry for yourself if you are deliberately making that choice to do it? So I can tell you it's a tragedy. It is a slow suicide. Vasily, welcome to episode number 40. Let me see, Vasily, is this your first time here? Hey, Mike the Breeze, welcome to episode 40. Good to see you. Hello to everyone, and only good and positive vibes. You're great and helpfully to all of us here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the encouraging words. I breathe that in. I take that one in. You guys may think, Santos is a little bit strange at times, but what I do helps. All of these little life hacks, they all add up, my friends. They all do. Abbas, welcome to episode 40. Thank you for being here. How are you doing? Abbas, I'm making every single day super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of and because of. Exactly. I'll say it again. People ask me, I love it because that's an affirmation that continues to remind me. I said, the good life is going to come out of a positive of good series or good positive reminders. So I'm making every single day super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of and because of. Thank you, Abbas. I appreciate you asking the question. Ginny, hi, from Florida. Gina from Florida. Welcome to episode 40. Oh boy, Laura. Well, like I said, Laura, I'm not here to judge, but that was either deliberate, it was either an accident that you stumbled into, or it was deliberate, right? But we all suffer the consequences of our actions. There's times that I do things, and I know, again, we make the choice. You have the choice, my friend. You have the choice. You have the choice to live a good life. Yeah, I know you may be maybe you don't have enough money right now, or maybe someone might be homeless. I've been there. You might have some form of a disease, a really bad disease, an illness or something, and you're not well. Okay. So what do we do? So do we look at these circumstances? Do we focus on them? Is that where we need to be? Most people, I notice when I go out in public, most people, when they ask me how I'm doing and I say, I'm doing super fantastic, or I say, I'm working on being super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of and because of, they look at me strange because most people never hear that. I was at the airport, Denver, Colorado, and I just go out and I talk to people. And I remember this one guy, tall guy that I was paying. He was one of the clerks at this little restaurant. And I was just being me. And he looked at me, he says, man, you're the first person, you're the most positive person that I've seen all day in here. And I was pretty shocked. I'm sure there's other positive people, but maybe he just didn't come across them. But he needed to hear what I had to share, and that encourages me too, because I'm giving, I'm paying it forward. It's not just about me. And I work hard on myself. I mean, I work hard to get to where I am today. Sometimes I have a little bit of a fear that tries to creep in, and Santos, this, and how are you going to create your clothing line? How are you going to keep writing books? How are you going to keep coming up with videos? How are you going to come up with topics? All of this stuff goes on in my head. And you know what? I tell myself to just shut up. Just shut up, and I'll give myself a timeout. And there's times, because of what I've been doing, I get inspiration, and I've kind of always had that an inner inspiration. And you guys have that also in your own unique way. We all have a gift to serve others. So, let me see. You'll get there, Laura, she says. Gina says. Abbas says, I am in a bad situation. Don't stay there. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about that bad situation? You have choices. And yeah, you're feeling the pain, right? He says, good on you. Good to hear that, but I'm unfortunately broke. Abbas, I'm going to say something. You're not broke. You're not broke. You believe you're broke. Okay. Now you may not have any money right now, but you're not broke, my friend. Right now, the fact that you can even be on either a phone or in front of a computer, in a sense, that's a little bit of a, what can I say? That's a treat, because there's a lot of things that you can do, even though you don't have money. Okay. People that are broke, if you break your leg and you break your arm and you break your torso, then you're broke. Okay. You got to be careful. We all have to be careful how we say things, because your mind is picking up on the words that I'm speaking, and your mind is also picking up on the words that you're saying to yourself. Okay. If you keep telling yourself that you're broke, That's what your mind is going to make you feel like. And your mind is going to send the signal to your emotions, and your emotions are going to make you feel down. You're not going to have any energy to go out there and look for opportunity. So see, that's another, we've been talking about self-improvement. Self-talk, your self-talk is a very powerful, I call it PST, positive self-talk. That is another powerful aspect of your own individual training. You know, when we feel sorry for ourselves, when we are feeling down, how do we talk to ourselves? That is the place where you need to get yourself up and talk to yourself as positive as possible. Well, Santos, that's challenging. That's hard. There we go again. See, we use that kind of language. Well, yes, if you say that, it's going to be. Now, what if you, instead of saying hard, what if you say, I wonder if I can start talking to myself more positive? You know, what would happen if I began to just turn my language, turn my speech around just a little bit? And Joe says, I was so bad and it hurt financially, physically, and emotionally. Yeah. Just keep loving yourself and plan for the future of not gambling. Well, how do we love ourselves, Ginny? How do we love ourselves? And how do we plan? Those are great. That's a great statement. How do we do that? How do we get ourselves to do that when we haven't been doing it? And I'll tell you, your nature, your nature, your mind, your old habits, they're all up here. And they are going around and around and around in your head. It's a continual movement. So how do we do that? How do we do that, Ginny? Come to programs like this one, watch some videos, read a book while I'm at it. By the way, thank you for your comments. You guys are sharing some good comments. Let me read something to you about Michael Walker, W. Mitchell. Have you guys ever heard of W. Mitchell? By the way, this is my partner's book. He's actually my techie partner, but he's also kind of a personal coach to me. He helps me, and it's been an investment, and it's been a good investment. So I am very grateful for that. But listen to this story. We're talking about, have you ever heard of W. Mitchell? Well, here's a bit of his story. On a sunny day, he was traveling on a highway at 65 miles per hour when he had a terrible accident. The Mack truck in front of him suddenly came to an unexpected stop. Instantly, in an effort to save his life, he laid his motorcycle down into a sickening skid that seemed to last forever. I can relate to this because something very similar. I used to drive a motorcycle when I was younger. When I was about 16, I believe. So I can relate to this scenario very, very closely. And who knows, maybe someday I'll share mine. So he slid beneath the truck. The gas cap popped off his motorcycle, and the worst occurred. Fuel spilled out and ignited. His next moment of consciousness was at the hospital, where he was suffering from much pain. Over 65% of his body is covered with terrible burn. But Mitchell he didn't refuse to give up. He struggled back to life and continued his business career. Yet he suffered another huge blow. On November 11th, 1975, he crashed during takeoff in a small aircraft he was piloting and injured his spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down for a lifetime. Man, talk about feeling sorry for yourself. Boy, if anybody would feel sorry for themselves, this guy. Since his terrible motorcycle accident, he's known more success and joy than most people know in a lifetime. He's developed phenomenal personal relationships with some of the most influential people in America. He's become a millionaire in business. Kind of an interesting story about Mitchell. And this is the book here. If you're interested in getting a copy, this is a great book, by the way, my partner put together, highachievers.me. That's where you can get the book. By the way, the Little Red Book is almost completed. I have to share that. And so is the Problem Gambling Academy. I'm going to be sharing that link soon. If you haven't subscribed to soldiersofselfmastery.com/happier, get your free educational gift. I believe it's a pretty cool one. I haven't even seen it myself, but it's been there for a while. At the top of the chat is a link that you can sign up, and you can stay in touch, and people, you know exactly what's going on. So let's see. You have to get sick and tired of the lie, bully trap, false belief demon, vomit trap that is gambling. Joe says, yeah, you have to. It has to start somewhere. Laura says, what do you do when you pass casinos daily? It's not easy to quit. See, here again, I'm not here to judge you guys. I'm not here to judge, because I have to judge myself in my own personal conversations. But look at that statement, Laura. And again, I'm using you as an example because you're teaching me something here, okay? I want you to know that. I'm not here to judge you. But what do you do when you pass casinos daily? It's not easy to quit. It's not easy to quit. Where did that come from? Where did that thought, where did that phrase come from? It's not easy to quit. I'm here to tell you that quitting is available. I'm here to tell you that quitting is a choice. Again, I do a lot of educational stuff on self-empowerment, on self-talk. I'm going to get more, probably my next video. I just created a video. If you guys haven't watched it, it's a pretty good video. It's a little slow. I was speaking kind of quiet. It was late at night. I got this inspiration to talk about speech, self-empowerment, self-speech. If you haven't watched it, I would encourage you to watch it. I think it's a 13-minute video. I challenge you to practice looking at the way you talk to yourself. That's kind of the gist of that video, but it's pretty deep. It's got some really interesting thoughts, insights. It's got a picture of a book. Actually, it has a picture of one of my journals. So if you haven't watched that video, I would encourage you. It's going to talk to you about the way you speak to yourself. It's going to talk to you about your thoughts, because your thoughts are tied to your speech. So I would agree with Laura. There was a day where I used to say the same thing, but I don't say that, because if I keep saying, if I keep using the same language that I've been using for many years, and that language is tied to my thoughts, there's not going to be any progress. There won't be progress. I can guarantee you. You start changing the way you speak to yourself. If you start becoming more consciously aware of the words that you are using in your vocabulary, you may end up removing some of those words. I would encourage you. And then add some words. Instead of saying it's hard to quit, remove that. Say it's doable. It's doable. See, we're so trapped. We're so trapped. People are so trapped in their minds with their own speech, and with other people too, because we have conversations with other people. You ever listen to people? I mean, I'm sure you guys are listening to me. Hopefully I'm sharing some good stuff with you guys. But you have friends that you sit down and you talk to, and you really listen to them. I mean, if they're successful, you want to pay attention to what they're saying. But if they're not successful, if they're struggling, if they're in a quagmire, if they're sinking in sand, listen to their talk. Listen to what they're saying. You're going to begin to notice some things about them. So let me see. The good life comes from a series of positive daily reminders. Yes, it does. Thank you, Joe. Jenny says, it's a whole new mindset, Santos. First, you have to believe you don't deserve to be constantly beat up with gambling. We don't. That's right, Jenny. We don't deserve to beat ourselves up. I mean, we've got, you know what? We've got bad. We've got enough of bad already. It's all around us. I say this to myself all the time. I'm not going to add to it. Or at least I'm going to work on myself so that I don't add to it. because if we're not careful, we'll continue to add to this curse that's around us, right? Our job is to plant good seed. You know, there's a lot of weeds growing. I mean, the weeds are a dime a dozen, and the weeds are, and I'm talking figuratively here, the weeds are choking out the good grass. And when we, you know, again, I want to go back because I don't want to get off the subject, but I want you to think about this. People feel sorry for themselves. That is one of the worst traps that you will fall into. The moment that you begin to feel sorry for yourself, catch it, nip it at the bud, distract. Mel Robbins, she uses the 1-2, she uses, if you ever heard of who she is, you can Google her, Mel Robbins. She says that motivation sucks. I personally believe we all need some sort of motivation, but she says that she studies the mind quite a bit. She says that there's a distraction tool that she uses. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. Whenever she gets a negative thought, a negative fear, something that it could be bad, she stops and she catches it within that 5-second window. You gotta have 5 seconds there. You stop it. She says, I just say 5-4-3-2-1. Boom. That blocks the thought, and then she begins to use her frontal cortex to be able to come up with good ideas. I know this is a little complicated, but if you study the brain and a little bit more about what's happening in your mind, you'll learn. And I'm encouraging those of you that are still problem gambling, I'm encouraging you to get a copy of the Breakthrough Academy once it's fully out there. It's going to have a series of videos where I break down the modules, and then there's questions and answers. It's going to be a step-by-step plan for you to use personally. You could use it on your phone, your tablet, your computer, and that the Problem Gambling Breakthrough Academy will go around the world. Anybody can get it, which is really cool, and use it. Let me see what else. I will try anything, Laura says. Well, the first thing that you want to do is obviously you want to know where you want to go in life. So getting a plan together, focusing on vision. I believe that's primary for me. Joe says you have to get sick and tired. What do you do? What do you do when you pass by casinos? Don't look at them. Don't look at them. By the way, that's the way I start cursing in the car. Change my train of thought, because once you focus on something and it grabs your attention, you'll begin to move in that direction. Let me see what else. Laura says, I'm broke too. Thank God my job starts on Monday. Come on, guys, we're not broke. Your bones are all together. You've got wonderful features. You're a unique individual. If you can walk around and if you can eat and sleep and go to the toilet and all the other stuff, you're not broke. Okay. And understand what I'm saying here. Okay. It's a mindset. It's a philosophy. People say, I'm poor, I'm poor, I'm poor. They're going to stay poor. You got to elevate your thinking. You must elevate your thinking. Would you agree with me? Laura says, when is it coming out? Everything's completed. My engineer has to put it together. He has to put it together in a package because it's not going to be on YouTube or anything like that. It's a downloadable program. You'll be actually, it's a downloadable. You'll have access to a website is what it is. You're going to have access to a series of videos that I've created. And then it's also going to have a curriculum part, a step-by-step kind of curriculum program that you can use to kind of identify some things in your life, help you kind of get the right direction, find your vision, find your purpose. And it's also dealing with some of the key areas of why you're struggling. I believe it's a great program. I've never done anything like it before. It's the first one. In fact, I don't even think that I know of, there is no Problem Gambling Breakthrough Academy out in the world. Believe this is going to be the first of its kind. So I'm definitely looking forward. It should have been ready by today. I got to check back with my engineer, my partner. And of course, like I said, a lot of these programs, they take proofreading, they take editing. And I'm not an expert in that. I'm an expert at running my mouth and putting things together. I got to leave it to others to put it together and get it online for me. And that takes money. That takes money. A lot of these things take money. And sometimes I make mistakes. I fail and I pay the wrong people. And then I got to retract and check it out. And so, but anyways, those of you that have donated to this mission, I do thank you for donating. And your donations are going towards helping people. You're helping others. I want you to know that when you team up with me financially, you are helping other people. So don't just think that you're just, putting money into this Soldiers of Self-Mastery for no reason at all. There's a perfectly good reason why you're doing that. So we are both with you right now, Katrina. Not sure what you meant by that. Well, we've gone over the 30-minute mark here. Wow, this has been a little bit of a longer episode. We're going to be winding down here pretty soon. I want to thank each and every one of you. What does she say? Katrina says, you are mine and my boyfriend Vasili's inspiration. Keep us strong, Santos. Thank you, my friend. I truly appreciate you sharing that with me. You're learning to give yourself permission. It's what's happening here. I might be a candle, and I know this. I learned this from this multimillionaire. What's his name? Anyways, he's a Legal Shield member. He says that one candle, and quote him, he says, one candle will never lose its light, its flame, by lighting another candle. And that's my heart's desire. I'm going to continue growing. This year is going to be an exciting year. I'm going to be working on some merchandise, t-shirts, journals with the Soldier of Self-Mastery logo. I've mentioned this also, and I've never said this. I have a couple of videos. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of aspects to self-improvement. Maybe I'll get more into that as time goes on. But these are two products. These are two products that I take, actually. And the link, these are products that I use in water. This is liquid. And this is a green product, and it's also a natural product. I stand behind these products. I've been on these products for going over 2 years now. I've got my mother on the products. It's helping her out. She's not getting sick as often as she used to, and she's on the East Coast. I have a couple of other people that have benefited, people with diabetes. We also have a family member that has stage 4 cancer, and he's doing okay. He's stage 4 cancer. He does get portions of the water, even though he's a little bit of a knucklehead and should be drinking more of the water. But the link to these two products, I'm telling you, you have to feed your brain. You must feed your brain and you must feed your body. The best water that you can be drinking will contain these two products. And if you want to learn more, just go to that link there at the top of the chat. Watch Dr. Fred, my friend, Dr. Fred Kaufman. Watch his video, powerful video. You're going to learn some things about minerals in your body and cells by listening to that. So let's see what else we've got going on here before we close down this program. A boss says, myself in the casino and totally lost 150 grand in 2 years. I hear you, man. I hear you. I've been there. 2 years. Yeah. I did that probably in 150. I did that probably in 6 months, 6 months to a year. Oh, I don't like thinking about these things, but that's where I've come from too. And it hurts. It's hard to replace that kind of income when it's gone. I mean, it's for some people, it's almost impossible. It takes them years to recoup. So, Santos, we have to change our talking. That's right. That's right, Laura. I'm encouraging you guys to listen to that video. Okay, it's on YouTube. It shows the picture of a journal. You can see it. I think it has this kind of a picture on it. Listen to that video. It's not me. I mean, you don't see me. It's just like a podcast type thing. So yes. I guarantee you, Laura, I guarantee you that if you begin becoming more consciously aware of your speech and how you're talking to yourself and the words that you are choosing, you're going to begin to notice something about yourself. You're going to begin to go to another level of thinking, conscious awareness. And that's what this is all about. You see, people can't just go out and say, okay, I'm going to stop gambling. I mean, they can. You can do that. There's people that said, I'm not going to gamble anymore, and they just stopped. But they did some things, and they replaced gambling with something else. You see? Now, you can shift the moment that you begin to catch yourself before the temptation grabs a hold of you, or before a trigger makes you move in the wrong direction. That's the key there. But I hate that word, but it starts up here. Training, becoming more consciously aware of your thoughts. See, we don't live in the casino, but you get a thought. And then what happens is you think on that thought. And then you tell yourself, I'm going to go. That's what happens. I'm not going to go. Oh, I see that thought. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I dismiss you, thought. You're not going to hang around. You distract that thought. So I was starting to drink a little at the casino. Then I said, it's going to ruin my life. There you go. That's positive. You told yourself. That's the consequence. If you are here, you have hope. Exactly. I believe that. You wouldn't be here wasting your time. You wouldn't be here wasting your time. So my friends from around the world, I want to say once again, it's been a privilege and an honor. It really has. It's been a privilege and an honor. I think I found some let me see. Here, I want to read this before I start. I'm going to end here pretty soon. By the way, my friends, if you haven't subscribed to soldiersofselfmastery.com/happier, the link is going to be at the top of the chat. Okay. And I'm encouraging you to go there, get your free gift, and subscribe so that you can stay close to the fire and keep yourself warm, because it is cold out there. If you want some personalized coaching, if you want me to help you in those areas that I talk about, personal self-talk, controlling your mindset, how to deal with temptation, how to deal with the triggers, life hacks that you could be using if you want to set some goals, or maybe you just don't know what your purpose is. And you just don't know. And right now you believe that your purpose is gambling or some other addiction, which it's not, but that's what you believe. I'm offering a free consultation, 35-minute. That consultation, well, I'm not going to talk about what the value of it. Well, I will talk. The value of that free consultation, anybody that I charge for 1 hour of my time, I'm going to say it right up front. It's $350. So you're getting a free conversation with me, and we're not going to fix everything from there, but I just want to give you a little bit of a taste of what we can do, of what you can do. And believe me, once you get running, once you get going, you're not going to need me as a coach forever. A couple of sessions, a month or two, it's an investment, my friend. Again, I'm just offering this. If you feel that you need something like this, you can go to soldiersofselfmastery.com and check out my coaching page. We're going to be back here Sunday again, Lord willing, at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're going to stay on this subject of self-empowerment. I believe it's a good one, and we can begin to dive a little bit deeper into it. And you guys can send me messages and let me know what kind of topics in this arena you want to focus on. I'm willing to rack my brain, search, and put some things together. Let me see. Laura says, Abbas, my kids drink too. Sorry to hear that. I give them advice. God can help. We pray. If you're a person of prayer like I am, I enjoy praying. I don't go to church. I'm not going to go to church. Don't invite me to church. I'm not going to go to your religion. I'll read the Bible, okay, and I'll pray. And that's what I encourage people to do. Read the Bible. Read the Bible. Doesn't matter where you read, any place you read the Bible, it's spiritual content. And pray. I believe Gamblers Anonymous talk about God, a higher power, and course, they're a little different. One step at a time, we can do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Jenny. I believe in you. I'm in the trenches with you. Laura, Joe, and who else? Abbas. Looks like he left. And Katrina. I want to thank all of you guys. I want to thank all of you guys for being with me. Oh, I gotta start my music, man. I love this tune that I picked up here on my iPod. Call it my iPod. Let me see here. Where is it? It was I gotta have it. Where is it? Oh man. Let me see if I can get this going. Maybe I can. Let me see here. Okay, we're going to be ending on this note here. So I got to get some better studio equipment. I got to get some better studio equipment. Actually, all I need is some better sound and probably a more expensive camera. Of course, I do have an expensive camera, but if you want to pick up the good sound, you got to have that. Anyways, I want to thank each and every one of you guys. I'm going to see you guys on the next episode at 4 p.m. on Sunday. Tag a friend, let them know what's going on. My friends, if you need some help, get help. If I can help you, connect with Santos. I will help you. I'll do my best to help you. Once again, I will see you. Remember to make every single day super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of and because of. I'll see you at the top on the inside. Peace through strength. Soldier self-mastery out.